Our top focus on the show tonight. Despite US tariffs, Russia has pledged to stand firmly with India. And in the latest, has backed India's Sudarshan Chakra. On Gravitas tonight, we will tell you why it matters. Also on the show, the war in Ukraine has entered a terrifying new phase, with air assaults being carried out by Russia. And as the world clings to hopes of peace, the divide between diplomacy and devastation has never been wider. From one war front to the other, Israel has entered the first stages of a planned assault on Gaza City. We'll get you a complete report of that and a lot more lined up for you on the show tonight. Let's get you started. The world is watching as India makes big moves to protect its skies. On Independence Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled a plan to make Sudarshan Chakra India's own shield in the sky, a defense system that could one day rival Israel's Iron Dome or even US's Golden Dome. And now, Russia has stepped forward not just as a friend but as a partner ready to stand by India. Even as the US threatens sanctions and tariffs on India, even as pressure mounts on New Delhi to cut its energy ties with Russia, Russia is saying one thing loud and clear: we are with India. On Wednesday, Russia's chargé d'affaires in New Delhi, Roman Babushkin, announced that Moscow has a special mechanism to deal with any American punishment that are meant to target India's oil imports. His message was clear. He called Russia a partner of choice for India, not just for India's energy needs, but also in defense. That Russian equipment will be part of India's Sudarshan Chakra mission. Now, what is this mission? The Sudarshan Chakra is envisioned as a next-generation, multi-layered shield. It will bring together advanced radars and missile defense to guard Indian cities, military bases, as well as key infrastructure. In simple terms, a protective blanket against an adversary's sinister plot to attack or target India. According to reports, it will be built on India's existing integrated air command as well as control system, which, as you know, has already proven its worth. In May, after India struck terror camps in Pakistan following the Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan responded by attacking Indian cities with drones. But Pakistan failed to break through India's defenses, with Indian air defense systems thwarting Pakistan's attacks for nearly 100 hours. Following that episode, India believes the threats of tomorrow, from missiles to cyber warfare, they demand even more fierce systems. The Sudarshan Chakra is meant to be that answer, a shield inspired by mythology and designed for the future. And Russia says it wants to help build it. This comes at a time when India is facing a lot of pressure from the US and the US President Donald Trump, who has doubled tariffs on Indian goods, slapped extra duties over oil imports from Russia. Not just that, and even threatened more secondary sanctions. But now, in the face of the unfair treatment being meted out by the Americans, India can count on its ally, Russia, to have its back. And Moscow has made it clear it considers this American pressure of tariffs unjustified and harmful to global stability. And India, for its part, has also been clear about oil purchases being driven by national interest and market dynamics. Russian envoy hailed the fact that Russia is India's largest oil supplier, and he warned that if India is forced to stop buying oil from Russia, it would not automatically mean better ties with the West. Instead, it would mean giving in to what he called neo-colonial pressure from America. And so, India's defense ties with Russia become even more important, more critical at this point of time. India already operates Russian S-400 air defense systems, which played a crucial role in May's clashes with Pakistan. And now, with Sudarshan Chakra, it could mark a new era of joint collaboration between India and Russia. This cooperation also fits into India's larger push for Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India for India. According to reports, the Sudarshan Chakra mission will also involve defense scientists, the military and private innovators. Russia's role could help fast-track advanced systems while also ensuring India has its own capabilities. Not just that, Russia is also opening its markets to Indian exports, offering an alternative at a time when US tariffs are hitting Indian goods, and the partnership is set to grow further. Both New Delhi and Moscow want bilateral trade to hit $100 billion by 2030. All of this is happening in a wider global context. So what we are seeing is this. India is building a shield for its people, its cities and its future. And Russia standing by as a committed partner, despite Western pressure. India-Russia partnership is not just surviving global turbulence, it continues to grow stronger with each passing day. Well, the war in Ukraine has just escalated to a new level of fury. In one of the largest air attacks, a swarm of Russian missiles and drones rained down on cities across the nation. This assault comes even as the world grasps for a fragile peace, highlighting the deepening chasm between rhetoric and reality. Our next report, telling you more.
Ukraine woke to fire and thunder. Explosions shook cities across the map as Russia launched one of its largest aerial attacks in the war. Over 600 drones and missiles tearing through the night sky. Air raid sirens screamed nationwide. Ukraine's Air Force says Moscow fired 574 drones and 40 missiles. Critical infrastructure was hit. In Rivne Oblast, a US-owned factory was struck, leaving multiple injured. President Zelensky says everyday household items, such as coffee machines, were made there. The surge comes as Russian troops march along the southern front near Zaporizhia. Zelensky warns of a looming escalation, with Russia deploying thousands of new troops. The south, already scarred by relentless fighting, could be the next flashpoint. But the battle is no longer just military, it's diplomatic too. Moscow accuses Kyiv of refusing serious peace talks, saying Ukraine's security demands are incompatible with Russia's terms. Russia insists that European troops in Ukraine are unacceptable.
As discussions between the West and Ukraine currently show, all these plans are essentially about providing guarantees for intervention, foreign military intervention, in some part of Ukrainian territory. This would be absolutely unacceptable for the Russian Federation and to all rational political forces in Europe.
Washington's stance too seems to be shifting. US Vice President J.D. Vance declared that Europe must bear the lion's share of Ukraine's security burden. His comments sparked unease across Europe, especially in Germany, where talk of boots on the ground has already rattled nerves. 3 years into this war, the stakes are only climbing. Russia shows no signs of slowing its assault. Ukraine, bloodied but defiant, scrambles to hold the line. A fragile balance teeters on the edge between survival, collapse, and the faint hope of peace. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Well, as Russia continues its aerial assault on Ukraine, Kiev is determined to hit back, not just on the front lines, but also deep inside Russia. Fueling these counterstrikes are Ukraine's secret missile and drone factories. Our next report telling you more.
Russia's relentless assault on Ukraine continues. Drones and missiles are raining fire on Ukrainian cities. But Kiev is determined to strike back. The counterpunch is being led by young and tech-savvy Ukrainians who are taking the battle to Russia. A Ukrainian startup, Firepoint, is helping Ukraine manufacture deadly long-range drones that enable Kiev to strike deep inside Russia. This is one of the covert factories inside Ukraine where drones and missiles are being made. This factory produces FP-1 exploding drones, which can travel up to 1,600 kilometers. It is seen as a counter to the Russian Shahids. The FP-1 alone is responsible for 60% of strikes deep inside Russian territory. The goal is to match, if not outmuscle, Russian capabilities. And Firepoint is one of the companies leading the way.
Ukrainian weapon production is a huge guarantee of Ukraine independence, and not only Ukrainian independence, but also European independence and European safety of the whole continent.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky claims that its latest missile Flamingo has undergone successful tests and is ready for mass production. The missile sports an impressive range of 3,000 kilometers and a payload of over 1,000 kilograms, deadly enough to strike big and deep behind the front lines. Ukraine is increasingly focusing on manufacturing domestic-made weapons. There is a sense of urgency as the Trump administration has slowed the supply of weapons to Ukraine. It is only the European partners who are still continuing to supply and promise to help Ukraine when it comes to armament. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Let's tell you what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. Well, Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed has launched a fundraising drive to raise millions for terror training centers. We will also tell you about North Korea's secret military base near its border with China. And finally, we'll tell you about the world's first spinal cord transplant, which could allow patients to walk again. Well, Israel pushes deeper into Gaza under storm of global condemnation. With tanks rolling, troops mobilized, and Palestinians trapped in an endless cycle of displacement, tensions are at a boiling point. Our next report brings you the latest from Gaza.
This is how a day starts in Gaza. Loud explosion lights up the Gaza skyline. Israeli soldiers armed with assault rifles are on the move. The streets of Gaza are all movement and chaos. Israeli tanks and soldiers advance into Gaza City, tightening the noose. Israel has called up some 60,000 reservists for a full ground offensive. The military calls it Operation Gideon's Chariots 2. The first step includes plan to secure the outskirts and push deeper as urban warfare takes hold in this besieged city.
We are not waiting. We have begun the preliminary operations and the first stages of the attack on Gaza City, and already now IDF forces are holding the outskirts of Gaza City.
Palestinians have been forced to move again and again, north to south, then driven back only to be displaced once more. Families carry what little they can, often crammed into makeshift shelters, as the humanitarian crisis worsens by the hour. Hospitals are overwhelmed, power is scarce, and food supplies are collapsing. For the residents of Gaza, things are only going to become worse.
Expanding the military operation in the Gaza Strip means that we will see more destruction, killings, devastation, starvation, and siege.
This is all a displacement system. We don't know where to go. There's no place for us to go to anyway. We are 2 million people. Where do we go? No places left. Not Mawasi, nor any other place for us to go to. We are not staying in our homes. We are staying in tents. We are displaced, and we don't know where to go.
The United Nations is pleading for restraint, warning of a spiraling disaster. Several European leaders joined the chorus, calling for an immediate ceasefire, while Arab capitals accused Israel of crossing red lines.
I must reiterate that it is vital to reach immediately a ceasefire in Gaza and the unconditional release of all hostages, and to avoid the massive deaths and destruction that a military operation against Gaza City would inevitably cause.
Undeterred Israel says it is focused on demolishing Hamas. It has now approved a major settlement project on Wednesday in an area of the occupied West Bank that the international community has warned threatens the viability of a future Palestinian state. For now, Gaza's streets echo with the rumble of Israeli tanks and the cries of families on the move. As war grinds on and casualties mount, the pressure on Israel to stand down grows louder, but on the ground, the offensive shows no pause. Bureau Report WION World is One.
Well, Russia has carried out a show of force in the Sea of Japan. Its Pacific Fleet launched Caliber and Huron cruise and anti-ship missiles during large-scale drills. The frigate Marshal Shaposhenikov successfully struck its targets in the waters. The exercises also involved naval aircraft and drones, with Moscow releasing footage of the launches. Take a look. Well, U.S. Intelligence Chief Tulsi Gabbard has announced plans for a massive cut to national intelligence staff. She plans to slash its workforce by 40% and cut more than $700 million from its annual budget. The move represents a major downsizing of the office that oversees coordination among 18 intelligence agencies. This week, the Trump administration revoked the security clearances of dozens of current and former officials after it declassified a set of documents aimed at casting doubt on long-standing conclusions about Russian interference in the 2016 polls. Announcing the cuts, Gabbard said that the agency had become bloated and inefficient over the last 2 decades, and that the wider intelligence community has been plagued by abuses of power, leaks of classified material, and political weaponization of intelligence. She stressed that restoring accountability is essential to rebuilding public trust, which she acknowledged has been eroded over time. The reorganization is a part of a broader White House effort to rethink how the government monitors foreign threats to U.S. elections. Earlier this year, Attorney General Pam Bondi shut down an FBI task force that had been probing foreign influence campaigns. The administration has also imposed major cutbacks at the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which protects critical systems, including those used in elections. And in April, the State Department announced the closure of its office dedicated to countering disinformation campaigns from Russia, China, and Iran. Now, the move drew partisan reactions in Congress. Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who chairs the Intelligence Committee, welcomed the move, saying it restores ODNI to its intended role and further strengthens it as a tool for the U.S. president. But the committee's top Democrat, Senator Mark Warner, pledged scrutiny over Gabbard's plan and warned that reforms could weaken national security rather than strengthen it. National Intelligence Office is going to restructure the Foreign Malign Influence Center created by Biden administration in 2022. And this is being done to monitor foreign influence operations and election threats. Officials now say that the center has become redundant. In her latest statement, Gabbard said that the center's priorities would be redirected. She argued it had been overly focused on election-related work and claimed that the Biden administration used it to suppress free speech and silence political opponents. According to Gabbard, center's core responsibilities will now be folded into other government operations in the future. And well, cutting federal jobs isn't the only thing keeping the Trump administration busy these days. Washington has now started exporting its failures, its problems, and its biases, making them Africa's burden. It is now dumping the migrant crisis on African soil. In the latest, Uganda has confirmed it struck a deal with Washington, D.C. to accept migrants deported from the U.S. But this deal comes with strict conditions. Uganda's foreign ministry has said that it will only accept deportees that have no criminal record, and it will not take unaccompanied minors. Uganda's permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs has called it a temporary arrangement. It applies to third country nationals who are denied asylum in the US but refuse or fear to return to their own home countries. Uganda has also stressed that it prefers to receive migrants that are from other African nations and not from outside the continent. Now, the details, including how many people will actually be sent, are still being worked upon. The deal was first reported by CBS News, but it's not an isolated case because the Trump administration has also made a similar agreement with Honduras, and that's in its push to ramp up expulsions of illegal immigrants from the country. And like I mentioned, Uganda is not the only African country on the list. Just this month, Rwanda has also agreed to take 250 deportees from the United States of America. And in July, the US Supreme Court cleared the way for 8 men to be sent to South Sudan. The list goes on. Then there's also Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, where deportees from US are being accepted only to be repatriated to their own original countries. Now, as far as Uganda is concerned, here's the irony though. Uganda already carries one of the heaviest refugee loads in the world. Nearly 2 million refugees and asylum seekers from South Sudan, Sudan and the DR Congo already live there. Now, questions are being asked as to how much more can Uganda absorb. For the US, it's about showing a tougher line on immigration and pushing deportations far beyond its own borders, far enough so they don't have to deal with it. But for countries like Uganda, for Rwanda, Eswatini and others, it's about their sovereignty, their capacity, and whether Africa is being forced to shoulder America's crisis. Uganda insists the deal is short-term and temporary, but with Washington striking more of these agreements across Africa, the question is, temporary, but for whom? Well, North Korea is building a secret military base near its border with China, which may house Pyongyang's newest long-range ballistic missile. The move comes as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to kickstart the country's nuclear pedal. While one might wonder where this secret base is located, a Washington-based think tank or CSIS reports that this undeclared Misompingdong missile operating base lies about 27 kilometers from the Chinese frontier. According to this report, the facility in North Pyongyang province likely houses 6 to 9 nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, and their launchers. It is said that the weapons pose a potential nuclear threat to East Asia and the continental United States. The report, which CSIS called the first in-depth open-source confirmation of Sinpongdong, said that the base is one of about 15 to 20 ballistic missile bases, maintain and support missile storage and warhead storage facilities, which North Korea has never declared. CSIS said that the launchers and missiles could leave the base in times of crisis or war, link up with special units and conduct harder to detect launches from other parts of the country. Kim Jong-un recently called for the rapid expansion amid the ongoing US-South Korea drills in Seoul, deeming it to be a hostile act. That's what Pyongyang called, and also said it's a declaration of war. South Korea and the United States began their annual large-scale joint military exercise on Monday to better cope with threats by nuclear-armed North Korea. Now, the 11-day Ulchi Freedom Shield, the second of the two large-scale exercises held annually in South Korea, it involves around 21,000 soldiers, including 18,000 South Koreans in computer-simulated command post operations and field training as well. Irrefutable proof of Pakistan's terror patronage is out in the open. WION's Siddhant Sibal reports that how new evidence shows Masood Azhar's Jaish-e-Mohammed using Pakistani digital wallets to raise millions for terror training centers. FATF is under pressure to act. Islamabad could be in serious trouble right now. Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Pakistan-based terror group led by UN-designated terrorist Masood Azhar, has been caught running a sophisticated fundraising drive using Pakistan's digital payment systems. Investigators confirm that Jaish-e-Mohammed has channeled nearly $14 million through platforms like Easy Paisa and SadaPay to construct 330 new training centers called Markaz across Pakistan. The terror group's shift marks a new phase of digital terror finance, what experts call a digital hawala. Instead of cash couriers or bank transfers, the money is being funneled into wallets directly linked to Azhar's family. Posters and audios on social media call for urgent donations, with each supporter asked to contribute 21,000 Pakistani rupees. The total fundraising target, that is nearly 4 billion rupees. Well, the terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed had its accounts frozen by Islamabad in compliance with global anti-terror watchdog FATF. The FATF grey list exit in 2022 gave Islamabad brief relief, but Jaish-e-Mohammed has now bypassed other banking oversight by exploiting fintech apps that operate outside the SWIFT monitoring. On May 7th, India's Operation Sindoor struck hard, wiping out Markaz Subhanallah and 4 other Jaish-e-Mohammed bases. "14 operatives, including Azhar's relatives, were among the 100 terrorists killed. And now, the terror group under patronage of Pakistani government has opted for an online campaign, urging loyalists to fund 330 new centers in the country. Funds are being channeled through over 2,000 wallets. One SadaPay account is linked to Talha's mobile. Talha al-Saif is the brother of Masood Azhar. Another Easy Paisa account is controlled by Azhar's son, Abdullah, to avoid any kind of detection. These wallets are rotated every few months, masking flows that fund weapons, propaganda, and even luxury perks for the Azhar family. Jaish-e-Mohammed's strategy right now is clear: decentralize its network. Large centers will serve as leadership safe houses, mid-sized ones as training grounds, and the smaller hubs for logistics. Experts estimate that Jaish-e-Mohammed raises over 100 crore rupees annually through such wallets, with half spent on arms procurement. With Jaish-e-Mohammed openly thriving in this digital space, calls are rising for FATF to step in again. For Pakistan, the consequences could be extremely serious. A disaster avoided in the nick of time, a space catastrophe averted, a major mission to carry 4 astronauts, including India's Shubhanshu Shukla, was moments from disaster. In a stunning turn of events, it was not the world's most advanced private space company that found the fatal flaw, but India's very own space agency. It was a close call that could have ended in unimaginable tragedy. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket standing on the launch pad and ready to carry 4 astronauts to the ISS. It had a hidden life-threatening flaw. The vessel, a refurbished booster, had a wheeled crack in its liquid oxygen line, a leak that had gone undetected by SpaceX's own systems. Experts now say that had the launch proceeded, vibrations during liftoff could have fractured that line, triggering a catastrophic failure and a fiery explosion. It was the moment that demonstrated the true value of human oversight in an age of automated procedures. Listen in from the man who sounded the alarm.
Probably they thought it's a minor leakage. That's what was the understanding. Because it was not a leak sensor, there was an oxygen sensor which was picked up. And when it came in the press, we asked, first question asked was, where is the leak? And to our surprise, they told they could not find out the location of the leak. We were shocked. Second, what is the leak rate? They told it is confidential message, this cannot be revealed. So when you probe again and again, out of 14 questions, hardly 2 questions were handled, and remaining was not answered, and we were not comfortable. Main advantage for us is our team is working in this area for 40 years. And if it is a small blowhole, no problem. If it's a crack, it cannot be allowed. And then we insisted for complete correction, and then they had to call off the launch on 10th evening 5:15. 11th morning was supposed to be the launch. And after that, their management gave a direction, find out the leak location. When they went and located, it was a crack in the field line. You know, if it is a crack, and during the test what has happened is continuously the leak was increasing. The data is available with us. And then if with the crack, if the rocket lifts off, what will happen is the moment it lifts off with the vibration, it will give away. Once it gives away, it is a catastrophic situation only, nothing else.
ISRO's unwavering commitment to safety, a principle federal to its ethos, proved to be the decisive factor. Their due diligence not only saved the mission, but potentially the lives of all 4 astronauts on board, including India's future Gaganyaan pilot. The incident has highlighted the professionalism of India's space agency and reinforced its reputation as a leading authority in space safety and technology. Our next story is about the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who is currently facing the charge of scamming voters in the run-up to the 2024 US presidential elections. So here's what happened. A federal judge said that Musk must be sued for allegedly deceiving voters into signing a petition to support the US Constitution that could fetch them a great deal of money, $1 million a day to be exact. No points for guessing. This rare chance to win that amount of money drew voters in numbers to the giveaway scheme. Except many of them now think that they have simply been duped as a part of a huge fraud. Among them, the Texas judge authorized a woman from Arizona to proceed with her claims that she believed winners would be picked at random, when in fact, they were carefully picked to be spokesperson for Musk's Political Action Committee. As per her, for voters like her, this came as a big blow of betrayal and a complete upturn of their bargain of grabbing $1 million lottery. Not just that, some voters also claim that Musk and his Political Action Committee convinced them to share information like personal details such as names, addresses, email addresses and telephone numbers unfairly. However, this is not the first time that Musk's team has received any kind of legal notice. Just about a week before the November elections, the district attorney in Philadelphia sued Musk and his committee PAC, commanding them to shut down the sweepstakes as an unlawful lottery. However, this was denied at that time. In defense, Musk has said that the lottery was not illegal to begin with. He argued that the supposed recipients of the $1 million were described as having been selected to earn the money instead of being shelled out as a prize of sorts. You see, for the world's richest man, tapping into the vulnerabilities of American voters to exact votes and support is not remotely correct. And if proven so, it's plain wrong and misleading. In 2024, Musk spent hundreds of millions of dollars to elect Trump and Republicans. And after Trump became the president of the United States of America, Musk was handed the key role of leading the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The least Musk could do was offer voters credibility and integrity so that they could repose faith on the elected government. But now instead, many seem to be crying foul of efforts being made to fool them throughout. Will the Musk team respond? We'll have to wait and watch. Well, Donald Trump, despite serving as the President of the United States of America, is showing little signs of slowing down on the wealth front. His latest disclosures reveal an aggressive foray into bonds, adding another layer to a portfolio already spanning real estate, crypto and media ventures. The list goes on. Since returning to the White House, Trump has reportedly executed at least 690 bond transactions worth over $100 million. These include municipal bonds tied to schools, airports and gas districts. They also include hefty tranches of corporate debt. Each purchase ranged from $250,000 to $500,000, with the first transaction taking place the day after his inauguration. Notably, Trump reported no sales, underscoring his accumulation strategy. The filings also highlight how Trump is not following the tradition of moving assets into a blind trust. Instead, his sprawling business empire remains under family management. His crypto-linked holdings alone are estimated to have added $620 million to his fortune in recent months. With Bloomberg pegging his net worth at $6.4 billion, Trump is positioning himself as both a policymaker and a market participant. In the world of science, nothing is quite impossible. And now, in what can be called a landmark feat in regenerative medicine, world's first spinal cord transplant could soon be a reality. One that could allow patients with paralysis to walk again. The Tel Aviv University announced that the surgery is slated to take place in Israel, and it will be performed in a rather unique way. According to Tel Aviv University, the first ever human spinal cord implant will be performed using a patient's own cells. This is being dubbed no less than a breakthrough. Important to note here is that the concept of a spinal cord transplant in human beings is not particularly new, but an innovation that began to be conceptualized about 3 years ago. The idea was first conceived when findings published in the peer-reviewed journal Advanced Science showed that animals like mice with chronic paralysis regained mobility after receiving engineered implants. And now, the surgery on humans, which is expected in the coming few months, could be transformative in ways more than one. Besides being a medical revolution, it could offer a new lease of life and restore normalcy for those struggling with mobility issues. According to the World Health Organization, over 15 million people worldwide suffer from spinal cord injuries, with the majority resulting from traumatic causes such as falls, road accidents, and violence. And as it turns out, spinal cord injuries are critical and cannot be fully cured. Therefore, treatment available so far focuses on stabilizing the patient so that future damage can be prevented. In form of reducing inflammation and sometimes performing surgery to repair fractures, emergency aftercare, physical and occupational therapy, and also use of other kinds of devices such as wheelchairs also help in mitigating ailing conditions among paralyzed patients around the world.
Peace and hope for the world. Pater, et Filius, et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.
Pope Leo XIV has announced his first foreign visit, and it is to Lebanon. According to Cardinal Bichara Rai, the Pope will travel to Lebanon by December, and the visit would mark a major moment for the American Pope, who has repeatedly urged peace in West Asia. According to experts, Pope Leo's visit to Lebanon could be a way to address Israel's war indirectly in Gaza, as he continues calling for an end to the atrocities committed in Gaza. Most recently, during his general audience on Wednesday, where he called for Christians, Jews and Muslims to live together in peace. According to another Vatican cardinal, a visit by the Pope would be a way of highlighting the problem without directly engaging in a confrontation with Israel. A Lebanese official familiar with the matter confirmed that discussions were being held about a visit towards the end of the year, though a date had not yet been finalized. As Pope Leo XIV prepares to step into foreign soil for the first time as a pontiff, it is clear that travel has become a major part of modern papacy, with popes seeking to meet local Catholics, spread the faith, and conduct global diplomacy. Apart from Lebanon, the Pope is also expected to visit Turkey in late November as a part of celebrations for the 1700th anniversary of a major early church council there. Frank Caprio, the retired Rhode Island municipal judge who became a global sensation for his compassionate and emphatic approach to justice, has died. He was 88. He passed away peacefully on Wednesday after what his family described as a long and courageous battle with pancreatic cancer. As the longtime host of Court in Providence, a show shot in his courtroom, Judge Caprio transcended his local role to become a global figure of kindness. His clips, which have garnered over 1 billion views on social media, showcased a judicial style that was refreshingly different from the often stern and confrontational portrayals of the television judges. Instead of meting out harsh punishments there, Caprio often tempered his decisions with humanity, humor, and an understanding of the human condition. He was known for his foxy demeanor and for inviting children to the bench to help decide their parents' cases, creating moments of innocence in a formal setting. One of his most viral moments showed him dismissing a traffic ticket for a woman who had lost her son, listening with deep empathy before clearing her of $400 in fines. Caprio's popularity stemmed from his unwavering belief in the goodness of people and his commitment to showing compassion from the bench. He often dismissed minor infractions such as red light violation for a bartender making minimum wage, while using the opportunity to teach a broader lesson about fairness and accountability. Beyond the viral moments and feel-good verdicts, Caprio used his platform to highlight serious issues, including the unequal access to the judicial system for low-income Americans. He once stated, and I quote here, "The phrase, with the liberty and justice for all, represents the idea that justice should be accessible to everyone. However, it is not," unquote. He further pointed out that nearly 90% of low-income Americans are forced to navigate civil issues, from unjust evictions to traffic violations, without legal representation. Caprio's life story was also deeply rooted in the American immigrant experience. He often spoke about his father, an Italian immigrant who sold fruit from a horse-drawn cart, and how their family's journey shaped his perspective on life and justice. This personal history fueled his compassionate approach, making him a symbol of empathy and understanding for many. Rhode Island Governor noted Caprio's ability to connect with people on a meaningful level after nearly 4 decades on the municipal court bench. A flotilla of hundreds of historic ships sailed into Amsterdam, marking the start of a 5-day festival celebrating the Dutch capital's maritime history. Take a look. Well, Iran launched its first solo military exercises since its 12-day war with Israel back in June. With this, Iran seeks to showcase its naval might as the country slowly but surely bounces back from the war hangover. Take a look. Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, Meta has paused hiring for its AI division after a spree of aggressive recruitment. The tech giant is now reorganizing its AI push. The move comes after the company brought more than 50 researchers and engineers on board in just a few months. The report states that the freeze, which began last week, is a part of a broader reorganization of Meta's AI efforts. Current employees have also been restricted from transferring between teams within the division. The company has not specified how long the freeze will last. Meta has also downplayed the freeze, calling it basic organizational planning, a way to set up a solid structure for the company's new superintelligence efforts, alongside annual budgeting exercises. That's the reason that Meta has given. Now, the restructuring, which marks the fourth shake-up in 6 months, will divide the division into 4 separate units. One unit will focus on superintelligence, another on consumer-facing AI goods, and a third on AI infrastructure. And the fourth will lead longer-term research projects under fundamental AI research. The reorganization underscores Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg's ambition to build systems that could eventually surpass human-level intelligence. To strengthen this vision, Meta has brought in key figures, including Scale AI co-founder Alexander Wang, former GitBig CEO Nat Friedman, and Daniel Gross, co-founder of Safe Superintelligence. Meta has also considered investing in their ventures as a part of its broader strategy. By mid-August, Meta had recruited extensively from rivals, hiring more than 20 researchers and engineers from OpenAI, at least 13 from Google, 3 from Apple, 3 from Elon Musk's xAI, and 2 from Anthropic. Reports have suggested that Meta has offered highly enticing compensation packages, with some claims of deals worth up to $300 million. Although the company has denied all those figures, Meta's aggressive push into AI comes alongside surging spending. The company added $17 billion in capital expenditures during the second quarter alone and has raised its full-year forecast to as much as $72 billion. With India's online gaming bill passed in both the houses of parliament, the $3.7 billion online gaming industry is now staring at an uncertain future. In recent years, real money games have dominated the industry, attracting players with the promise of big cash rewards. India's new promotion and regulation of online gaming bill 2025 seeks to ban real money games, their promotion, and all other related financial transactions. According to the government, the goal is to protect users, especially the youth, from addiction and financial loss. It also aims to safeguard citizens from the associated risks of money laundering. According to government estimates, nearly 450 million Indians lose around 20,000 crore rupees, or nearly $2.5 billion every year. And that's on real money games, on gambling. A real money gaming platform is one that charges an entry fee and promises tangible financial gains. These platforms let players wager real money on games of skill or chance. In games of chance like roulette, results are driven by random number generators. But in skill-based games like poker or rummy or fantasy sports strategy and knowledge play a bigger role. If a player wins, additional funds or virtual currency is added to his or her gaming account, which can then be transferred to the player's bank account or digital wallet. But if a player loses, that money is lost. For instance, on popular fantasy sports app Dream 11, users pay a fee to participate in a competition. They then build virtual teams based on ongoing real-life sport matches. They are awarded points based on how a player in their virtual team performs in the real-life match. Only players with the highest scores among a pool of thousands of players win cash prizes. That money can later be withdrawn after verification. The new bill proposes a complete shutdown of all online real money games, irrespective of whether they are games of skill or chance. And with that, we slip into a very short break, but we're leaving you with Gravitas Worldview. Thanks very much for staying with us. You are watching WION The World is One. Stay tuned.
To bring the benefits of the Sudarshan Chakra show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
This week on the West Asia Post, Iran says the fight is far from over. If Israel strikes again, Tehran vows to answer with deadlier missiles. Gaza City is now under Israeli siege. But the stretched Israeli military is facing a manpower problem. The UAE is betting on the future. A new national curriculum is bringing artificial intelligence into every classroom.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, every Friday at